Well, things are already changing for the horses on Derby Day. We've just found out that one horse that we've been talking quite a bit about has been scratched from the Derby lineup. Let's head out to my co-anchor, Brian Schlonsky, out at Churchill Downs for Derby today.
Yeah, Myra, you can tell the folks out here who are real horse racing fans who have a lot at stake going into Saturday as well, because a lot of people were getting notifications on their phone, and you could see them looks of shock as Rodriguez, one of the two Bob Baffert trained horses, now out of Kentucky Derby 151. So that leaves Beza coming into the field. Here to talk a little bit more about how significant this is, we've got Wave Sports Director Kendrick Haskins joining me here along the first turn, and you and I were chatting in the commercial break. It's Bob Baffert's big return to Churchill Downs after a 4-year hiatus. Was coming in with 2 horses, now just 1, and he's popping out of the 1 hole.
Yeah, Citizen Bull, he may have been one of the favorites coming into this race if he didn't have a bad trip in the Santa Anita Derby. He's coming out of the 1 hole, so you can't like his chances coming into the Derby. And he said Rodriguez, who was the Wood Memorial winner and won his last race, has to scratch literally just found this out maybe about 5 minutes ago. When I say he won the Wood Memorial, Beza gets in. He's got 2 wins in his career, and it's going to severely change the pace of this race.
So does this change, too, some of the odds when we look at bringing Beza in? Where do you see this whole picture moving as we get closer to Saturday?
So yeah, it's going to change it tremendously. A lot of odds are going to fluctuate. It's going to be because the odds are going to fluctuate coming into Saturday anyway, especially with the Bob Baffert horses. I expected both of them, even though Citizen Bull's coming from the 1 hole, I expected him to move up in the betting just because it's Bob Baffert. With him being down to one horse in the race, it's going to change everything once the odds come out.
You know, you mentioned that the owner told you the other day you think that horse has the speed to get out. If not, going to get sandwiched there along the rail.
Yeah, he told us that during the post-position draw when we interviewed him on Saturday. He thinks he's got the speed, and with the new gate, with all 20 horses being in the same gate, it does give them a little more room, so it's not as much of a death sentence as it used to be in the past. So he may be able to get out there, but he's going to have to use a lot of energy to get out ahead of the horses to get up on the lead. But he does have, it is a shorter route around the track, so it could work out if he can just get out of there and not get squeezed in early.
Look, we know these things happen. There are scratches. Rich Strike a couple of years ago was a late ad, ended up winning the Kentucky Derby as one of the biggest long shots in history. So this is what makes it exciting. But for somebody like Bob Baffert, who there was a lot of excitement about his return, where do you think somebody with as much experience as he has, where's he sitting mentally right now?
I'm sure he's upset, especially for the owners of the horses that he's working with. But Bob Baffert, you know, he's one of the coolest cats here at the track. He's not overreacting. I'm sure he's calm.
He's been there.
Yes, he's been there, done that, and I'm sure he's going to put 1,000% of his energy into Citizen Bull, who, even though he had a bad trip his last trip out, he was super high on him when we talked to him when he first got here last Friday. So I'm sure he's calm, and I'm sure he thinks he can still win this thing.